While modern financial advisors recommend credit scores and investment portfolios, the Amish maintain complete debt freedom through spending habits, so strange that most people consider them impossible or extreme. These 10 behaviors contradict everything consumer culture teaches, yet they work perfectly for generations. Celebrating breakdowns. Most people experience genuine distress when possessions break. The immediate thought involves replacement costs, inconvenience, and frustration at things not working as expected. The Amish respond completely differently, viewing breakdowns as opportunities rather than disasters. When farm equipment fails, fathers gather sons to examine the problem together. The breakdown becomes teaching moment where mechanical principles get explained and repair techniques demonstrated. Rather than lamenting the failure, they celebrate the chance to develop skills and deepen understanding of how things function. This mindset shift transforms expensive problems into valuable learning experiences. Each repair builds knowledge that prevents future service calls and develops capabilities that last lifetimes. The community shares expertise during breakdowns, with experienced members helping novices master techniques they'll need for independent maintenance. Modern culture trains people to panic when things break, immediately seeking replacement or professional repair. This response generates continuous expenses while preventing skill development. The Amish prove that breakdowns can be positive when you possess knowledge to fix what fails. Ignoring sales? Walk into any store and you'll find sale signs designed to trigger purchasing impulses. Retailers understand that 50% off creates urgency that overrides rational decision-making. Most shoppers cannot resist discounts even when buying things they don't actually need. The Amish approach sales with complete indifference. A half-price item that wasn't needed yesterday remains unnecessary today, regardless of discount. They recognize that retailers manipulate customers through artificial savings illusions, creating the feeling of winning while actually losing money on purchases that serve no genuine purpose. This immunity to sales requires understanding a fundamental principle. Buying unnecessary items at any price represents 100% waste. The discount percentage becomes completely irrelevant when the purchase itself shouldn't occur. Saving $50 on a $100 item you don't need is identical to throwing away $50. Modern consumers convince themselves that passing up sales means losing money. The Amish recognize that spending money saves nothing. Only by not purchasing at all do you actually keep your money. The best deal is always the purchase you don't make. Their spending rule remains simple. Buy only when genuinely needed, regardless of sales, discounts, or limited time offers that create false urgency. Delaying gratification. Perhaps the strangest Amish habit involves deliberately waiting years before purchasing items they can afford immediately. This patience contradicts modern consumer behavior that treats immediate acquisition as standard and delay as punishment or deprivation. When Amish families identify future needs, they begin saving but intentionally extend the timeline beyond financial necessity. A family might save enough to purchase new furniture within 6 months, but wait 2 additional years before making the purchase. This extended delay serves multiple purposes that justify the seemingly pointless waiting. The delay tests whether the desire represents genuine need or temporary want. Many purchases that seem essential in the moment lose all importance after months of consideration. By waiting, families avoid spending on items that would have sat unused, wasting money that could have served better purposes. Extended anticipation also increases satisfaction when purchases finally occur. Items acquired after years of planning and saving feel more valuable than those obtained instantly. The journey toward possession creates appreciation impossible through immediate gratification. Children observing this patience learn that delay doesn't equal denial. They internalize the principle that good things come to those who wait, building character traits that protect them from the debt traps that capture people seeking instant satisfaction. The waiting period also allows circumstances to change. Better options might appear, prices might drop, the need might disappear entirely. Patience creates flexibility that immediate purchasing eliminates. Buying broken. While most shoppers seek pristine condition and reject damaged goods, the Amish actively hunt for broken, ugly, or damaged items that they can purchase at massive discounts, then repair using their extensive skills. Estate sales and auctions provide primary hunting grounds for these bargain purchases. A chair missing a leg might sell for $5 when the intact version costs $100. Furniture with damaged finish goes for 10% of retail despite being structurally sound. Farm equipment with broken parts sells at 70 to 90% discounts when repair skills can restore full function for minimal investment. This strategy requires two things most modern consumers lack: repair knowledge and willingness to own imperfect possessions. They can evaluate whether damage is superficial or structural, and they don't care if repairs remain visible as long as function gets restored. The savings prove extraordinary. A family might furnish their entire home for $500 by purchasing damaged furniture and making repairs. The equivalent purchases in perfect condition would cost $5,000 or more. That $4,500 difference gets saved or applied to other needs. Modern culture teaches that buying new and perfect represents the ideal, while purchasing broken indicates poverty or poor taste. The Amish reject this completely, recognizing that function matters while appearance carries no real value. Sharing everything. Individual ownership of expensive items represents one of the most wasteful aspects of modern consumer culture. The Amish eliminate much of this waste through collective ownership that allows entire communities to access tools and equipment at fractions of individual purchase costs. Farm equipment demonstrates this principle clearly. A corn picker might cost $15,000, but gets used perhaps 10 days yearly. Rather than each farm purchasing their own equipment, 5 families contribute $3,000 each. Everyone gets access during harvest season through scheduling that ensures all crops get processed timely. The same cooperative ownership extends to bulk purchasing. 10 families combine orders to buy flour, sugar, fabric, and other staples directly from wholesalers at prices individual households could never access. The savings range from 30 to 60% compared to retail prices. Wedding expenses get distributed across entire communities. A wedding might cost $15,000 total, but when 300 families each contribute food, labor, or small cash amounts, no single household bears overwhelming burden. Medical costs follow similar patterns. The church maintains funds covering serious illnesses and hospital stays. Monthly contributions run perhaps $200 per family compared to $800 to $1,200 for commercial health insurance. This sharing requires trust and coordination that modern individualistic culture cannot replicate. But the financial benefits prove enormous, allowing families to access resources they could never afford independent. Avoiding upgrades. Modern consumer culture operates on continuous upgrade cycles that convince people their perfectly functional possessions have become inadequate and require replacement with newer versions offering marginal improvements. The Amish completely reject this upgrade mentality. Items get used until they genuinely fail, then get repaired and used longer. The concept of replacing working items because better alternatives exist makes no sense in their economic framework. This good enough philosophy prevents enormous spending. A table serving its purpose adequately doesn't need replacing just because newer designs exist. Clothing that fits and protects doesn't require updating to match changing fashions. Tools that function properly don't need upgrading to more efficient models. The upgrade cycle creates perpetual dissatisfaction where people constantly feel their possessions are inadequate. This psychological manipulation drives continuous spending that benefits manufacturers while impoverishing consumers who can never achieve contentment because the goalposts keep moving. The Amish achieve satisfaction through accepting that good enough truly is good enough. Their furniture, tools, and possessions might be old, but if they function adequately, no upgrade consideration occurs. This contentment with existing possessions represents freedom that people trapped in upgrade cycles cannot imagine. New purchases occur only when old items break beyond repair. Until that point, existing possessions continue serving regardless of how many better alternatives enter the market. This simple rule eliminates countless unnecessary purchases that most households make without questioning the genuine need, wasting time. Modern financial advice emphasizes that time equals money and that spending hours to save dollars represents poor economic choice. The Amish completely reject this calculation, regularly investing enormous time to avoid relatively small expenses. A woman might spend 8 hours sewing a dress that would cost $50 to purchase ready-made. By wage calculation, her time investment exceeds the savings. But the Amish don't accept this math. They recognize several flaws in the time-money equivalence that mainstream economists ignore. First, that 8 hours wouldn't generate income anyway. Without commercial employment, the time spent sewing represents no lost wages. The choice isn't between earning money or saving it, but between making the dress or buying it. Second, time spent productively on necessary tasks provides satisfaction that purchased items cannot match. The sewing process brings joy and accomplishment that simply buying the dress eliminates. The value of this satisfaction defies monetary measurement but matters enormously for life quality. Third, skills developed through time investment pay dividends across lifetimes. The woman learning to sew dresses gains capability, serving her for 50 years. The cumulative savings from decades of garment construction far exceed the initial time investment. Finally, time spent making things keeps families together in shared work that builds relationships. The economic value of strong family bonds eclipses any wage calculations about efficient time use. Refusing convenience? Perhaps no Amish habit seems stranger to modern observers than their deliberate rejection of labor-saving devices and convenient alternatives. They choose harder, slower, more physically demanding methods when easier options exist and are affordable. Washing clothes by hand takes hours compared to minutes with machines. Traveling by horse buggy requires more time and effort than driving cars. Manual tools demand more physical labor than powered equipment. Yet the Amish maintain these inconvenient methods generation after generation. The reasoning involves recognizing that convenience costs money both initially and perpetually. Labor-saving devices require purchase prices that strain budgets. They also create ongoing expenses through electricity, fuel, repairs, and eventual replacement. These costs accumulate into thousands or tens of thousands of dollars across decades. Manual methods cost almost nothing beyond initial tool purchase and human effort. This trade of labor for money savings makes perfect sense for families prioritizing debt freedom over comfort. The inconvenience also provides benefits that convenience eliminates. Physical labor maintains health and fitness. Slower methods allow contemplation and conversation. Simple tools rarely break and remain repairable when they do. Modern culture views convenience as unquestioned good, but the Amish prove that accepting inconvenience purchases something valuable: financial independence from systems designed to extract continuous payments. Planning poverty. While most families spend every dollar earned and then some through credit, the Amish deliberately create artificial scarcity by living far below their actual income level. This planned restriction seems strange when abundance remains available, but it prevents the lifestyle inflation that traps most households in perpetual financial stress. The standard practice involves letting one income fund all living expenses while treating any second income as completely unavailable for spending. A family where both spouses work might have $40,000 in annual income, but they maintain lifestyle affordable on just the father's $25,000. The mother's $15,000 goes directly to savings without touching family spending patterns. This creates the psychology of poverty without its reality. The family feels resource constrained, making decisions carefully and avoiding waste, while actually building substantial savings that provide genuine security. The artificial scarcity prevents the natural tendency to expand spending to match income increases. When families feel abundant, they spend abundantly. When they feel limited, they economize effectively. The Amish deliberately maintain the feeling of limitation even when reality differs. This planned restriction requires discipline that most people cannot sustain, but it creates the margin between income and expenses that builds wealth and ensures financial stability across economic conditions that destroy households living at their full earning capacity.